Great. All right. So what I wanted to do is just in front of the camera talk about a couple things when it comes to the return of serve, and then we'll go to the video. And I think it'll help make sense when we go to the video.
Okay.
Um, so I'll start with Cathy, and when it comes to the return, only because she's a two-hander. Because with you guys being a two and a one, it does add a difference between. So um, I'll send this recording to you, and that way Cathy can watch this. Cathy, when you are hitting your return, it was a little hard to see because you were on the other side of the court, but it appeared like your left hand was on the throat of the racket. And when you are returning serve as a two-hander, you always want to have both hands on the grip. And the reason is because if your hand's on the throat and the ball comes to your backhand, you have to move your left hand and change the grip before you can hit the ball. And depending on the speed of the ball, you may not have time to do both of those because you can't do them simultaneously. If you're changing your bottom hand and you're moving your left hand, which hand is holding the racket? So you have to do one and then the other. And so this is why whenever you watch pro two-handers return serve, both hands are on the grip. Now, Alex, you should have your left hand on the throat because you're a one-hander. And so you can actually tell by just looking at a picture of someone returning serve, not even a video, just a still picture of somebody in their ready position about to return serve, you know if they're a two-hander or a one-hander. And it's all based on this is a two-hander, this is a one-hander. So you should have that look. The next idea, when you are returning serve, I want you to think of a laser beam shooting straight out of your belly button, and make sure that that laser beam points at the server. A lot of times players, when returning serve, and it's unbeknownst to them because nobody would actually do this on purpose, they're just not aware. A lot of players will face straight forward when returning serve, and then they turn their head to look at the server, especially in doubles, because the server in doubles stands much wider than in singles. So it's even worse for your ability to return serve if you're not slightly rotated to face the returner. Face the server. So whenever you're returning serve, you just have to think, okay, you could use your racket as the laser beam and just think, okay, I'm going to face, you want your racket to point at the server. And that's how you're going to be ready for a forehand or backhand and have it be this equal amount of turn, especially because we want to hit our doubles return cross court. So if we face straight ahead, if the ball comes to our inside shot, we have to turn a lot just to hit it cross court. And if it comes to the outside shot, like an out wide serve, we don't have to turn very much at all. So you want to give yourself an equal distance on both sides. So always face the server. The third idea, the split step. So every single time your opponent hits a serve, you want to make this move. Now, there are complicated versions of this, but simply stated, I'm a two-hander, so I have both hands on the grip. I'm facing the server. I got my laser beam coming out of my belly button, shooting right at the server. And when they hit the ball, I hop. The goal is actually to be in the air as the opponent makes contact with the ball. That is the precise timing on a split step or a hop, but it's called a split step. When you hop, you are so much faster when you come down and everything stretches and you propel in the direction you need to move. What I saw from you, Alex, and Cathy in the video is that you were flat-footed. And like a body at rest tends to stay at rest. Okay. So when you're flat footed and you're stationary, it's hard to get moving. But when you do a hop, when you land, you can really change direction. If you think about like a running back, think about a Barry Sanders, and like they'll kind of go, they'll sink down in order to change direction, and then they can push in the direction they need to move. You want to kind of start that idea with the return. And so those three things right off the bat are easy to implement the very next time the two of you go out and practice returns. So both hands on for Cathy. Alex, you're going to have your left hand on the throat. Make sure that you're facing the opponent. And then as the server hits, you're going to almost awkwardly high have a jump. Like try to make your split step. Your goal should be to have a caricature of a split step. Like it's so absurd and exaggerated. You're like when I go to, if I get a caricature of myself, it's a bald head and big ears, right? Like that's how you would draw a caricature of me, right? And I want you to have your split step and say, there's no way this is right. Like Ryan's going to tell me like, why are you jumping 10 feet in the air? Here's what happens. When players try to exaggerate the split step, they still fall short of Coco Gauff and Carlos Alcaraz. They're still falling short of those players. So those three things would make all the difference in the world. So Alex, tell me specifically, if you're playing a match, what do you find? And I'm going to show you the video in a second here, but what do you find, if anything, that you might struggle with on a return or a type of serve or anything?
Well, I feel like I'm generally really bad at that particular part of the game. One thing that I noticed that recently that I think potentially helps, and I don't know if I'm still doing it. It's also like it might be a little odd if you're only seeing me and Cathy, because her serve is a little bit soft. But I noticed that I've heard all these things about what you do, and then I think what I actually do is I maybe even do a split step and then I run up and hit this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Instead of just turning. I know you're supposed to see where it's coming, turn one way or the other, and hit it back. I seem to have a lot of problems with that. I cannot seem to hit a hard serve or almost any serve back without like lobbing it back. Like I can lob things back pretty well, but if I have to hit like normal people return a serve,
normal people,
I can't do it. I do something completely wrong. I started thinking a part of it is because I'm running up and then I'm trying to hit it instead of just smoothly. But I must be like standing back like this, so that I'm relatively comfortable popping it up, but I can't get any force on it either. So, when I hit a decent one, I can still get poached because it goes back soft.
Yeah.
So that's my experience.
Yeah. What do you think Cathy would say about how she would like her return to improve? If you've ever heard her say anything.
Well, she is kind of almost opposite. Her I don't know if you can see it from but some of her returns of serve are one of her best shots.
Great.
She's really able to get a lot into it. She gets it back deep and fast, and it works well.
Good.
So I think she's generally pretty happy with the return of serve. I think she likes the backhand better than the forehand.
Gotcha. Cool.
She also has a side, although maybe it's switched a little bit, but
she has a what?
She's better on one side rather than another side.
Oh, like deuce or ad. Now I gotcha. Yeah. Usually people are that way. And it's personal preference. It's what, okay, so let's go to the footage. And the return of serve is a bit like a dance. It's like a choreographed dance, right? You're trying to do the same thing over and over again. So it makes it easier to actually understand it. It's not like strategy where it's the nuances. you don't have a ton of nuances with when it comes to the return. So we'll look at this. Oh, where are you? Here we go. Okay, so let's go to it. And all right, so as let's go to, yeah, we can look at this one. Okay, so watch, Cathy, watch how as Alex is hitting the ball, you're not hopping. So as he hits the ball, you should be hopping up into the air. And to kind of show you how extreme you can think of this, let me show you Andy Murray. So here's Murray on a return of serve. And he takes this big forward step. And he's a two-hander. Notice both hands are on the grip. But look how high he jumps. He's like way up in the air, and then he lands. As soon as he lands, he turns and then hits the ball. You want it to be very obvious when you jump. Here's is a big jump. Yeah. Here, let me show you Berdych versus, oops. Oh my goodness, my fat fingers. There we go. So here's Djokovic versus Berdych. And look how Djokovic is jumping on his serve, but look at Berdych at the same time. See how they both jump? They're actually jumping in unison. Djokovic jumps, Berdych jumps. They're both in the air as Djokovic is making contact. They're both off the ground. That's actually what you want on a serve. Well, anytime you want to be in the air as the opponent hits. It just so happens on the serve, your opponent's also in the air. Well, at this level, they're always in the air, not always in the club level, but you want to be in the air as your opponent makes contact with the ball. That's what you want to do. And you can see that jump and then he lands. You can see both. Oh, go ahead.
I assume that's because then you're forced to be neutral as to what side you're going to, right? I mean, is that the biggest reason for it?
Say that again?
You're forced to be neutral as to what side. You're not anticipating what
correct
side to go to because you're up in the air. You have no choice. So then
well, true, but what you also do is so when you jump, you land with force.
Okay.
And that force stretches your calves, your legs. You press down.
Mm.
And when you come down with more force than you can use than if you're just stationary.
I see. So you spring up automatically. You're
correct. You actually like spring like a trampoline off. So you actually become heavier. You know, like when you hit you hit the ground with more force than you would have if you just stood there. So when
if you use it wrong, it could actually be a problem. Like if you are up and you spring up and you don't really pay attention to where the ball's going and you spring up straight up back or the wrong way, you're never going to get
correct.
Where the ball is.
That's why you always want to land the split step after the opponent makes contact with the ball.
Oh.
So the split step should be landed between 0.2 and 0.25 seconds after the opponent contacts the ball. Now, that might be new information to you, but that is like across the board. If you're 5 years old, if you're 100 years old, if you're a national champion, if you just began tennis, if you're Roger Federer, if you're Serena Williams, it doesn't matter. That is when you should land your split step, 0.2 to 0.25 seconds after the opponent contacts the ball. The reason is because that is the human reaction time in processing what it sees and then sending the signal to the body. Okay. So here's right there's contact. So let's put a timer down and let's see when he hits the ground. It's just like every time. So he's hitting the ground and watch this. Watch how Berdych is not moving. Berdych is still not moving. Berdych is still not moving. He has not moved his racket. Why? Because 0.13 seconds isn't enough time for his eyes and brain to recognize and start sending a signal to the body yet. We're talking hundredths of a second. Yeah. And so his racket still hasn't moved. And watch when his racket here starts to move. It starts to move at point two because that's when his brain starts sending signals. So that's when he should land. What you're trying to do is synchronize your brain and your reaction time with when your feet hit the ground. That's why you don't want to land your split step as your opponent hits. You want to be in the air, and you can see that he's in the air, which makes the absurd calculation of 0.2 to 0.25 seconds possible. Like if I told you do something 0.25 seconds after your opponent hits, you'd be like, that's impossible. And I would say you're right. But if you just try to be in the air as if you're in the air when a jump rope goes under your feet, well, if you're going to jump rope, you got to be in the air as the rope goes under your feet. You're just timing the act. So here you want to be in the air as your opponent hits. And it doesn't matter if they're at the net, if they're at the baseline, if they're hitting a forehand, if they're hitting slowly, if they're hitting fast, it literally doesn't matter. What we're trying to synchronize is when our brain reacts to where the ball is going. So that does not change based on the speed of the shot or where our opponent is. Our eyes and our processing is the same no matter what. So we want to land as we're processing. And then all of that stuff, Alex, that you said, what if we go in the wrong direction? Or you'll never do that as long as you time the split step and land at that time. Is it possible to land too late? Yes, I see it all the time. Is it possible to land too early? Yes, I see it all the time. So anything worth doing is worth practicing in order to do it well. So you get there eventually.
If you land too early, you probably would have been better off not split stepping at all, because
I make that statement. I make that statement about 8 times a day. I tell players, if you split step too early, I'd rather you not split step. And so I would rather not in the sense that I don't want people split stepping, because at first, I'll be honest with you, let's say I'm teaching a 10-year-old and they've never split step before. And all of a sudden I get them split stepping. Well, I'm going to tell their dad, hey, at least he's split stepping now, even though he's split stepping at the wrong time. You got to start somewhere, right? But in actuality, I'd rather you not split step too early. Then you kind of move the wrong direction because you tried to guess. And then you were worse off than if you just waited and didn't even split. Yeah. But ultimately, you want to learn to be in the air as the opponent hits. But you can see both hands are on the grip. His belly button is facing Djokovic. He's jumping nice and wide, and then he hits. So it's like what I taught you with the belly button idea and both hands on the grip and all that stuff. It seems simple, right? But it's what the pros do. Sometimes the pros do simple things, not just complicated things.
Yeah. So I would guess that you would also say, I'm pretty positive you would say next, don't worry if it's too late. You want to start out with it being too late, because being too early is pointless. So
correct.
It'll be too late and get the feeling for landing and then having to move.
Correct. Here's the thing. Players split step late by default at the beginning. When players first learn to split step, 99 times out of 100, they split step late. So I don't even have to tell them to do that. I tell them to split step. They start out by split stepping too late. And then
I probably start out too early. That's for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, I think the more aware you are of it, the more you're like, you preemptively do it. And like, okay, I want to get this almost over with and make sure that I did it.
That's how I probably do it. It's like, I gotta do it, so I do it and then get it out of the way so I don't have to do it.
Yeah, no, of course. Let me show you. This is my student. I taught her yesterday. She lives in South Korea. She lives in Seoul. And you'll see that her split step is late. And she's not going to mind that I'm doing this. Her name's Yejin. So there's his contact right there. Mm-hmm. So we put a timer down. Now remember, 0.2 to 0.25. So when does she hit the ground? 0.33. It's too late. So her brain already reacted to where the ball was going at this point here. At 0.23, which is in the middle of 0.2 to 0.25. Her brain knows where the ball is going, but she's not on the ground, so she can't move. Now, is this better than like not at all? Sure, like, she's learning. But ultimately, I'm having to tell her, hey, you can't be late in your split step anymore. Like we've already run that experiment. Like, good job, you're split stepping now. predictably it's late, but now you got to split step early. So she's having to just split step earlier, and she knows that, and she's working on it. So everybody's trying their best to improve. Okay, so Cathy, I want to show you something. Let's go to 121. Okay. Cathy, when you return serve, it is in your best interest to return serve in an open stance where you do not step forward and then hit the ball. So let me show you what you're doing. You are stepping forward with your left foot and then hitting the ball. It would be in your best interest to rotate, keeping your feet where they are, loading up your legs, hitting the ball, and then stepping with the left foot. What you want to do, in fact, I'm going to show you myself doing this.
So how often will you not be able to get to the ball if you never move a step?
So I didn't say never move a step, and I'll explain. Yep. So that's a great question. That's the question to ask after I teach this first idea.
Okay.
So here is me just demonstrating. Go Eagles. Here's me demonstrating a return of serve, and here's a big split step. This is from my most popular YouTube video on the return of serve. I was just demonstrating with a Topspin Pro. I have the jump, and there's the split. So here's what I want you to notice. I turn, I hit, and then I step. Let me see actually if I have, let's see, oh, no, that's okay. No big deal. All right, so split, then I turn. Now, Cathy, what we saw is you were stepping with your left foot and hitting the ground, which I'll define as a step. Your foot hits the ground is the definition of a step, and then you hit the ball. What you'll notice on my return is I hit the ball, then I step. So this is what is called split, turn, hit, step. What you're doing is, if you add a split step, Cathy, is you're doing split, turn, step, hit. You're reversing these two. We want to do a split step, then turn, whether it's a forehand or backhand, then hit the ball, and then step after. Let me explain why, and I'm going to go in front of the camera. This is how you get power into the return and handle pace from your opponent. It's a double whammy. You can handle slow serves too. But when you step into the serve, you can only handle slow serves. You cannot handle fast serves. So here's the way it looks. This is every single pro tennis player, what they do. So I split step, but it's like a hop. It's called a split step because your feet typically split apart, but let's just call it a hop, but it's a split step. You hop, there's the split step. What you're doing, Cathy, is you're stepping right away. The moment you step, you no longer have any momentum into the shot. It's done. Because when your right arm goes forward, your right leg kicks back, just like when we go bowling or a slap shot in ice hockey. Once you're sideways and you swing, the leg swings opposite our arm. That's why our arms and legs go opposite each other when we run. Or when we go bowling, the foot kicks back. We've all experienced that. So if you step before you hit, you no longer have any momentum going forward, and you're just hitting with your arm. But which is what you demonstrated. But Cathy, if you split and then you just turn and you delay this step, What you can do is split, turn. Now you're loaded up and ready to fire and get your momentum into the shot, not fire that momentum before the shot, and then you're just hitting with your arm. So you want to turn, hit, then land the foot. So this is just like I'm in my basement teaching a tennis lesson. You can do this at home. You want to learn split or hop, split, turn, hit, step. Now I'm segmenting them and compartmentalizing them so that it's easy to see. Split, turn, hit, step. But in reality, it looks like this. That's what it looks like when you put them all together. You're hitting, then stepping. No different on the backhand. Split, like my feet are on Lazy Susans. Turn, hit, then step. The step is the last thing you do, because what ends up happening is you're in transit getting your momentum into the shot because you're delaying that step by loading up and then hit and then step. Now, to answer your question, and that was a sneaky good question, Alex, you said, if you don't step, how easy is it to get aced and not be able to reach the ball? You're thinking of, I've never been asked that question so quickly. That was very smart. There is I call it the sneaky step. You're thinking of the step, Alex, as being the foot that we just talked about, stepping as the only foot you can use. You may not have seen it in the video of me with the Eagles hat. I did a sneaky step. I'll show it from the back. Let's say the ball is going to go to this spindle right here, and I'm here returning serve. This is the breaker box closet in the house. I've had people go, is somebody going to walk out of there? I hope you don't hit them. Like, I hope not. That's the corner of the basement of the house. Like, no one's in there. It's the electrical panel for the house. So when I split step, and let's say I'm on the deuce side, right? And I'm facing the server this way. I'm returning serve on the deuce side. And let's say it's a really far wide serve. When I split, I don't want to use this foot to go over to get the ball that's going to the stairs. When I land, I'm going to use the foot that's closer to that side to step when I turn. Now I just got closer to the staircase while still keeping this in the chamber. I haven't used this step yet. So it's split, turn, and if the ball comes to me, I just turn and keep my foot where it is. If the ball's farther, I'll step out. Then I hit, then I step.
Would you call it a hop? Is it like another hop?
You are, it's not a hop as much as it is, imagine jumping over a puddle. You're walking on a sidewalk, right? You're walking down a sidewalk and there's a puddle, and you don't want to walk in the grass because it's all smushy. So you're just walking and you would just go like, was that a hop, or was that kind of like a jumping over a puddle, walking down a sidewalk? Okay. That's the push. That's the push that I'm hopping over as I go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does.
So it looks like this. Now, that was fast. Let me show you what that was. Watch my right foot step over. That's how I rob aces from the opponent. You rob aces by taking the closer foot to the ball, closer to it. That moved the whole system.
Right.
Now I can hit and then step after.
And you guarantee that you can get to both sides that way.
Well, I mean, if it's a money back guarantee, then nobody would ever be aced.
Yeah. Okay. So, it happens, and it's like, well, that's out of my system. Great job. You can't do that every day.
Correct. Yes, this is how you reduce the likelihood of getting aced. Players get aced all the time in rec doubles because if they do land the split step, they don't take the sneaky step over to get to the ball. So now that I just taught you that, I'm going to go back to that video of me in the Eagles hat. Watch this. Split. Now watch this foot go like this. See that little move? Yeah. That moved me closer to the ball. Then I hit, then I step. Now let's do a real world example. Let's look at Tsitsipas returning serve. All right, so watch. Here's Tsitsipas in the return. I'm sorry, the split step. Now the serve is going to go out wide. Watch his left foot step over. That's a little sneaky step. Split, step over. His left hand's on the throat, by the way, because he's a one-hander.
It's kind of hard to tell where the energy is coming to make that. Is it from the right foot or the left foot, or is it then otherwise it's like a hop where you're using both? That, I guess that's the question. Like where's the power coming to make that little step?
He's just stepping. So it would the power would be on the like in this scenario, the power would come. I mean, when you take a step, the power comes from the other foot. So he's stepping with his left foot. So there's his split. He's stepping with his left foot, but he's just using the weight on his right foot to push.
Okay, so it's
here, do this for me. Stand up, do a hop, and then step to one side or the other. Just do a hop, and now step to your left with your left foot. There. Like you didn't have to worry about which foot was driving any power. Now you're hitting a forehand because you're a lefty. So now do this for me. Do your hop, and then turn as you take that little sneaky step with your left foot. No. You have to land in your split step neutral. There you go. Then you hit and then step across with your right foot. Well, you forgot to step with your right foot after you hit the ball. Now hit. I can see you. I can see you. Do a hop. No, do a hop first. Hop. Now turn for a forehand and step. Now swing your racket. You got to swing. You got to hit the ball. Then step with your right foot. Yes. And when you step, it's like you're jumping over a puddle. It's not that you're just taking this stroll. Hit. You got to swing your racket. Then step with your right foot. Correct. Watch Tsitsipas. Watch Tsitsipas here. Watch. Split. He turns and he steps with that foot to get over to the ball. He's delaying his right foot. Then he hits. Then he steps with the right foot. So it's split, turn, hit, step. He's hitting on the left side of his body. So the last thing that happens is he steps with his right foot. But since the ball is wider, when he turns after the split step, he's going to step over with this foot to help him get over to the ball, while still keeping this foot locked and loaded in the chamber, waiting to be used later on. Then he hits, then he steps. Split, turn, hit, step. It's over and over again. Don't get too much in the weeds, because I can tell you, just making sure that you split step is all you need to worry about right now.
Okay.
I'm teaching you this stuff so that you know what to work on in the future. Otherwise, we have a 30-second lesson and I say, just make sure you split step, and then we go about our day. So I'm teaching you the stuff that comes next. But at first, split, turn, and step with your left foot out to the side. Let's say the serve is going out wide on you. Good. Now swing your racket over your shoulder. Just swing over your shoulder, over your right shoulder. Now, what's interesting is when you're stepping with your right foot, you're turning your back to me. Don't turn your back to me. Like watch Tsitsipas. When he steps with his right foot, he's not turning his back to the opponent. He's just stepping across, but he keeps his chest very forward. Now, well, hold on just a second. See how you just stepped out with your left foot? When you step out with your left foot, you need to prepare the racket at the same time. Watch Tsitsipas. When he steps with his left foot, he's preparing the racket. As he steps with the left foot, he's preparing the racket simultaneously. So you do that. Do a split and then step with your left foot and prepare the racket at the same time. Yes. Now swing over your right shoulder. Now jump, but see how, okay. When you're taking that last step, you're taking it as just like a nice stroll on a Sunday afternoon. I want you to feel like you're jumping over a puddle. Like I'm going to draw a puddle here. Like there's a puddle here on the ground. And Tsitsipas is going to kind of jump over the puddle with his right foot. He's like leaping. In fact, right here, he's in the air. He kind of jumps and he puts his right foot across. So
in relation to the swing, is it after?
Correct. You're going to land the foot after you hit the ball. The foot kind of goes with the racket, but you land after you hit. That's okay. Let me demonstrate this with you. Since you're right there. And I'll do it lefty. I'll do it lefty so that it's all good. I got to make sure I watch what time it is. I got to go pick up my daughter at school. Let me see. Okay, good. 2:08. Perfect. I have to leave around 2:20 to get her in time. She's in 8th grade and school lets out at 2:45. All right. And this school is about 20 minutes away. So split. Now, if the ball comes right to you, you don't even have to move your left foot. You can just turn. So let's do that first. Let's say the ball comes right to you. So split, turn, hit, and then jump forward and like put your left foot up in the air, like jump forward after you hit. There you go. Yes, it's not a walking step. It's like you're jumping over a puddle, walking on a sidewalk. Yep, split, turn, hit, step. That's amazing. Good job. Watch it again. Split, turn, hit, step. Split, turn, hit, step. That's how you get power into the return. Yes. Now, what you demonstrated there, maybe to just experiment, you kind of walked. It's not a walk. It's this foot comes up in the air. The left foot comes up into the air.
It's like you're forced to do it because you sprung the rubber band or whatever.
Correct. You're loading up and you have no choice but to jump over the puddle. We're not going to walk over the puddle. You're going to jump over the puddle. Split, turn. Now, hold on. When you turned, you put your weight on your right foot. You went like this. You rocked your weight to your right foot. If you're turning for a forehand, you're going to put the weight on your left foot. You do this. You lean. That puts the weight on this leg. Now you have you're pushing off of this leg and you go.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting it.
Yep. Let's see it. Split, turn, swing. There you go. Now I want you to do it again, but this time put your left foot up in the air when you're done. So watch me. Split, turn, hit, step. And I want your left foot to kick up as the last thing you do. Split, turn, swing. So hit. There you go. Where'd you learn that? That looks good. Yep. Split, turn, hit, step. You got it. And it's kind of like a lunge. We won't even call it a step. It's a lunge. Split, turn, hit, lunge. Split, turn, hit. Go for it. Yeah. You got it. Now,
a lot of it's stupid because I hate like with the force on one, but putting the power in the left leg instead of the right.
When you turn, you got to put the power on the left leg. Try one more. Yes. Now let's do a backhand. Same thing. Split, turn with both hands, by the way. then hit, then step, and your right foot is in the air. Watch me. Split, turn, hit, step, or lunge, jump over the puddle. Split, turn, please don't hit anything, hit. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Now I want you to clean it up by finishing and just kind of holding your balance, and your right foot is up in the air. So watch. Split, turn, hit, and jump onto your left foot and kick your right foot up into the air and just hold that position with your right foot in the air. Turn, hit. Oh, that's your left foot. You got to step across with your left foot. Watch. Yeah, you got to step onto your left foot and your right foot's going to be in the air. Split, turn. There you go. Your right foot is up in the air. Yes, because you stepped with your left foot. Do that again. That was great.
This is all very similar to how you would hit ground strokes, right? I mean, isn't this?
No. You can hit ground strokes this way, but when hitting a ground stroke, there's like 8 to 10 different footworks that you'll use. You will hit ground strokes this way, but about 10% of the time. This is what you do 95% of the time on the return. So it's similar in the sense that, yes, sometimes you'll hit a ground stroke this way, but this is how you hit a return of serve. On a ground stroke, you might use a closed stance. You might use a mogul stance or a front foot hop, or there's all different types of footworks on the return. So to answer your question, the answer is yes, you'll hit ground strokes this way, but basically less than 10% of the time. This is more than 90%. You'll do this on the return.
Just feel like that energy transfer that you're demonstrating. I don't do.
Can you feel how there's an energy transfer into the ball? Yeah. So try it again. Do a forehand. Do a forehand.
Always hit something.
Yep. So split step, turn, hit. There you go. And as a test, Alex, you're doing very well with this. As a test to know that you're doing it correctly, just finish with your foot in the air, the foot that you're leaning on. So my left knee has all the weight on it. And I'm going to swing, I'm going to lunge onto this foot, and this foot kicks up. So if you're hitting on the left side, finish with your left foot in the air. So try it. Split, turn, hit, left foot in the air. Good, because you stepped across. Now do a backhand. You're hitting on the right side, so your right foot finishes in the air. Oh, you forgot to step across with your left foot as you're hitting. Now left foot, step with your left. Nope, you got to step with your left foot, left foot. You're in this position, and you're leading with this foot. This is the leg that has all the weight, so this is the foot that's going to step.
Okay.
Turn. Now don't, there you go. You got to step across with the left foot. Yep. Split, turn, hit, step. Yes. Yes. Try a forehand. Try a forehand. Try that again. Try that again. That was well done, but you landed your split step and you're already turning. You need to land the split step in the ready position. Yes, then turn, hit, and step. Good. Notice you just stepped with your right foot and on the forehand. So now do a backhand, and you got to step with your left foot. Turn, left foot. There you go. That kicks the right leg up. Yeah, so you got to reverse it. Yes. Good. So now let's go back to Tsitsipas, because you're only going to notice stuff that you know about. So that's why I don't notice when my wife gets a new pillow for the couch, because I didn't know she got one, so I didn't notice it. But look at his left foot kick up. So when I'm asking you to kick that foot up, it's not for giggles or S's and giggles. It's split, turn, hit, step. Now notice this serve goes a little bit wider. So watch how he steps with this foot. Okay, he steps with that left foot. But if we go later on, Let's see, is this the one? No, no, not that one. Look at this one. He just lands. He takes a tinier step. It's not as big because the ball's coming more at him. And then look, it's like he's there in your den. Split, turn, hit, step. And that left foot kicks up in the air. That's exactly what you were doing on your forehand. And this foot kicks up. So that idea is how you get the power into the return. What you're doing, and we're out of time now, but what you're doing is you're doing what Cathy was doing, is you're just stepping and then everything's in your arm. And she's got two hands, so she's got a little more power on her shot. And you've got the one hand, which the one hand isn't really known as a power shot. But if you can use your body, then you have as much force as you will as a two-hander. And not exactly. That's why, again, the two-handers, Serena, Agassi, Connors, Djokovic, the two-handers are the ones who are known for the return. The one-handers are known for their volleys. Sampras, Edberg, McEnroe, Navratilova, right? The Federer, they're known for the volley because they're used to one hand. So they're a little more skilled and used to using one hand. Where two-handers, they're kind of fish out of water at the net sometimes. Not always. Definitely not always. Nadal has surprisingly beautiful volleys, and he's a two-hander. And Serena and Venus dominated women's doubles in the late aughts, and as two-handers. But that's how you return serve. That's the footwork that you use. You got both hands on the grip for Cathy. You're going to be here. You're rocking back and forth with your belly button laser beam shooting right at the server. As they go into their serve, you do a hop. And when you land, you push. I used to teach at the tennis club when I taught there. I used to teach one of the anatomy and physiology professors at Temple University, very good tennis player. And I said, don't get into the nitty gritty because I'm not going to understand what you're saying, but please. But I said, Professor Steve Sullivan was his name. And he said, I said, Steve, could you give a lecture on the benefit of the split step and the timing of it and synchronization of your brain reacting when your feet and your muscles and ligaments and tendons pushing and the extra weight on the ground propelling you in the direction? He goes, absolutely. He says, absolutely, I could do that. And it's not in our syllabus, but I absolutely could make that part of one of my classes because there's a real benefit to it of the split step. So when you land, you push in the direction you need to go. And then whichever direction the ball goes, you land, you turn, you're winding up, you hit, then you step, and that foot kicks up in the air. Split, turn, hit, step. If the ball's farther from you down the tee or out wide, when you turn, you take that little sneaky step to help you get over to the ball. But you've got this one still in the chamber. You're not using it yet. That's when you said, well, how do we get over to that ball if we don't step? You were thinking of only that front foot stepping. You can get over with the little sneaky step, the foot on the side where you're hitting. Then hit, then step. That's what we saw from Tsitsipas when the ball was farther away from him. He would split and he would use the foot on the side where he's hitting to step over to get closer to the ball. Then he hits and then he gets his weight into the shot. That's when now that you notice that or know that, you'll be able to see that when they return serve because they do it over and over and over again. That's how you get weight into the ball. And to leave you with this, this is how you handle fast serves. Because if you have a fast serve coming in and you always wait for your foot to hit the ground and then you hit, you're putting the hit after the step. Sometimes the ball comes in so quickly that you don't have time to, ball comes in 100 miles an hour and you're going to step and then hit. That's how you return fast serves. You just turn, hit, and then the step comes after. You're just putting the contact in preemptively in front of the step. That way you almost like turn and hit. That's how they handle the pace. They immediately turn and hit, and they let the step happen after they contact the ball. But you and Cathy have programmed yourselves when you see the ball come in, you step and then hit. And so if somebody hits the ball really fast, you're always going to feel late. And when you feel late, what do you end up doing? You don't trust it and you just pop it up. And you're like, well, I'm just going to pop it up into the air because I don't have the force into the shot to hit it very hard past the net guy. And since you both step forward, even on a slower ball, and there's no weight on the ball, you just pop it up over the net guy's head because you don't feel like you have any pace into the shot to hit it low cross court and whiz it right by the net player. So that's like this type of idea. And there's no way you wouldn't be able to teach Cathy now. Like you would be able to show her split, turn, hit, and then you step. And just think of it as you're jumping over a puddle more than just a step. There's a little bit of a lunge where you're trying to get some distance with that step at the end. Make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Once you know this, if you watch, there's not going to be a ton of tennis on right now, but as the season winds down. But when you watch tennis on TV, you just look at the returner, not just the server. Look at the returner and you're like, oh my gosh, they split, then they turn, then they hit, then they step, and they kick that back foot up in the air like you were just doing. And it's just over and over and over again. It's not that complicated. I went to the Eagles game this past weekend. It was my wife gets me a game every year for my birthday, as my birthday is during the season. And, do I really understand what's going on? No, not like they do, the coaches on the sideline. I just think, oh, it's a pass. And, oh, he intercepted it. Like, I know as much as any other, Monday morning quarterback. But if you actually taught me something, I'd say, holy, I never noticed that. It just looks like a bunch of gobbledygook, like it's all random. It's not random. There's nothing random going on. I just don't know what it is, so I can't recognize it. So now that I showed you that, now when you watch the pros, or just go to a very high level player at your tennis club. Maybe some college kids come back during break or something. You'll say, oh my gosh, they're doing exactly that. It's every time. I didn't even realize they were doing that. And now that you know it, now you can practice it and you can get better at it.
Right. Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I was texting Cathy because I had her number and she was asking for the link to send to you. Do you want me to text you right now so you have my number?
Sure.
What is let me just X this out. What is your phone number? I'll just say, hey, it's Ryan.
Yeah, my phone number is 510-390-6565.
6565. 510-390-6565. All right, it's an iPhone. Hello from Ryan Reedy. All right, great. Let me bring you back up.
Just got it.
All right, great. All right, I got to go pick up my daughter. Thank you so much. I hope this really helps. Just even making sure that the hands are on the grip versus the hands are on the throat for the two of you, and the belly button laser beam. You got to face the person who's hitting the ball, just like an infielder in baseball. All the infielders are facing the batter. Yeah. Like everybody should be facing who's hitting the ball. That way it's equidistant to both sides, right?
Yeah, no, I think I do that.
Yeah.
I always think about it, but of course that's the simplest part of it.
Yeah, true. Well, we started with that. Yeah. And then, well, you got to get the simple stuff to get the more difficult stuff. And then you do a hop, and then you turn, and then you hit and you lunge forward and you get weight into the shot.
Transfer will work. That's not like it's super hard, but I don't do it, so I'm not used to it, and it's weird.
Yeah. Well, it'll take you 1,000 balls like to start to get it. And I mean, maybe you can hit 1,000 returns in a month.
Right.
And some of them can be shadow swung. Not every one of them needs to, you're going through the muscles and the body is doing it even without a ball. Right. But if you can get 1,000 in a month where every day you just shadow swing 25 times, after a month, that's 750 times. And if you can just add 250 actually on court, you got it. So you got to start somewhere. So you absolutely did a great job in the demonstration. So nice work.
All right. Great.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much. And say hello to Cathy. I'll send you the recording and that way you can both watch. All right. Thanks, Alex. Talk to you soon.